My name's Teresa and I'm married and I have triplet boys who are 5 years old now. And they're my first and only children. I've had a history in sort of early adulthood of some bouts of mild depression, and I also have a degree in psychology. So I knew I was at risk because of that past history, as well, having multiples and them having had a long stay in hospital. So all the risk factors were there. So when the health visitor came with her checklist to tick the boxes, I knew exactly what she was asking me, and I deflected every single question so that it appeared that I was doing very well. I didn't want to admit that I was struggling at all. I wanted children for so long, I couldn't admit to myself that I was actually finding it hard having what it was I had wanted so badly. So I sort of went with it. I was fortunate that my husband was off work at the time, so he was able to be at home with me. So he took on a lot of the responsibility, so we shared that. And then it wasn't until my boys were about probably 10 months, 9 or 10 months old, that something else happened that really upset me, something totally unrelated to the children. And I just found myself plummet. And I was to a point where I knew I wasn't strong enough to take care of myself, let alone to take care of them. And I had been going through feelings of being afraid of the children, feeling I couldn't do anything right. And so at that point, I thought, I need to go see somebody. So I just went to the GP, and she prescribed some antidepressants for me, and I didn't take them immediately because I always felt that you treat the problem, not the symptoms. And so I kept thinking I could deal with it. But in the end, I decided my children were more important than my own sort of prejudice about medication. So I went to the GP and I got put on citalopram, and it's quite hard to adjust to antidepressants. So I did have a few months of getting used to them and having to experiment with what time of day to take them at, and so on, and having some side effects that were unpleasant. So that took probably a good 4 months before I felt comfortable on those. But I think also I started going to play groups, meeting other parents. Of course, with triplets, it's quite hard to get out on your own. By this time, my husband had gone back to work. And so when I was able to get out to play groups and meeting other people and going out to social things with the other mums and the babies, and I met people with twins and so on, that really helped me a lot because I'd have things to look forward to that got me through the day. And it was really beneficial. But in retrospect, what I also wish that I had attended some prenatal classes, because I was told, oh, you're having triplets, it won't apply to you. But perhaps the content wouldn't have applied to me, but I would have had the opportunity to make friendships with people who were going to be having babies at the same time as me, which would have provided me with a support group, a peer group, which I didn't have at the time that the babies did come. I felt guilty. I felt like this is what I've always wanted. I've got it now in triplicate. What's wrong with me? Why can't I enjoy it? Why can't I appreciate it? Why am I wishing the hours away, the days away? All I could think about was, when will it end? I need an end date. Somebody needs to tell me the day it's going to get easier. I needed something to cling to. I needed some hope. And I didn't find that I had hope. It was like a never-ending cycle. I was exhausted. I wasn't eating. I wasn't, my husband and I were crabby with each other all the time. God bless him. I was trying to live up to the ideal of what I had always thought I would be like as a mom. I'd spent, almost 40 years of my life imagining what I would be like as a mom, and I was nothing like that. And that was really, really hard for me to take. I was afraid of my children. They actually scared me. I couldn't stand hearing them cry. I just wanted to run out of the house. But then even if I went out of the house for a legitimate reason, like going shopping or something, I'd get to the supermarket and panic that I had to get back because it wasn't fair to leave my husband to cope with it all. And I'm being a bad wife as well as being a bad mother. So I didn't feel like there was anything I could do that was good enough that would alleviate the incredible anxiety, stress, and guilt that I was feeling at that time. My boys are now 5. They've gone to school full time. And I feel, on one hand, I feel a great sense of achievement. We did it. We got them there. I got through those 4 years despite some setbacks. I didn't mention also that I lost both my parents 2 years ago within 6 months of each other, and that really set me back again. I was quite unwell after, with bereavement and so on. Very delayed reaction to bereavement when you have children. You don't always get a chance to process these things and think about it. So I do have a sense of guilt as well still. I look back over those years and think, that was my 4-year opportunity to be such a powerful, positive influence on their lives, to be an example for them. And in some ways, I still do think I failed because I wasn't there for them as much as I wanted to be. I didn't do as much for them as I wanted to do. However, I also acknowledge that that's out of my control. And under all those circumstances, I always did the best I could do in those circumstances. And the fact that I feel guilty shows I care, and that I was trying my hardest. And that's really all I can ask for. And I've got 3 absolutely gorgeous, lovely, loving, clever little boys. So probably did a couple of things right along the way. Yeah. Talk to somebody about it. When the health visitor comes with that little checklist, it may not be the right time for you to talk about it. And so maybe say to the health visitor, can we talk about this? Can we make a separate appointment? Because perhaps the day she's there, you're weighing all the children. There might be feeding issues you want to discuss. There might be all kinds of things that you need to prioritize. So rather than just putting it under the carpet, say, I want to talk to you about this separately. Can we please do that? That takes quite a lot of courage to do it, but I think health visitors have an incredible pressure upon them to do a lot of things in their visits. And what I found from our health visitor is that if we asked for an extra visit for a specific purpose, she was quite happy to do it because she could justify that. So I would say ask for that. Also, if you don't feel comfortable sort of outing yourself, as it were, to somebody who you're going to be seeing all the time, get in touch with one of the support organizations like Pandas, it's called, I believe. It wasn't around when I was going through this. I think that would have been very helpful for me. Ring up Twin Line. There are people there who can signpost you to support. Go to your GP. But be aware, GPs, there's a limit to their insight sometimes, and also the resources available to them. So you do have to advocate on your behalf, and you might not be in the best place to advocate on your behalf. So you might need to ask a friend or family member to do that for you or with you. So, but do reach out and get help, because once you do, it's shocking how many people have been in exactly the same place you have, and you just don't know. And they have lots of advice and support that they could offer you.